What is up, everyone? Welcome to episode number 11 of the Ohio Sports Radio Show podcast, Thursday, June 2nd. This is Jared and Ian and Alex Kikaris back, ready to talk some Ohio sports with you guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. For those of you who may be new to the show, we start each episode off with our best and worst of this past weekend. Alex, let's hear your best and worst.
My best, we'll start off with Manchester United. They signed youngster Marcus Rashford to a 4-year deal, keeping him in United till 2020. Quick little stat for you on Rashford. His debut this year, scored 2 goals against FC Midtjylland. Pronunciation check on that one. Premier League debut, 2 goals against Arsenal. Went back to school because he hasn't even graduated school yet. Played City, scored the winning goal against your City team. FA Cup, scored goal of the year for United. Won the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year award. England debut, scores against Australia, wins the FA Cup, named to the 23-man England team, and we locked him down for 4 more. So that was for you, Jared.
He's a really good player. Quick side note, he's a really good player. I'm not going to deny that. I think he's going to be a very, very fantastic player for you guys. But you guys need way more than a 19-year-old kid to beat my dominant City team. So go ahead with your worst.
Beat you both times this year. But my worst of the week was the Cincinnati Reds getting that ass beat by the Rockies, 17-4. Gave up 7 home runs. That was Moscott's first game back off the DL. He gave up 4 home runs in just 2 innings.
That was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Ian, best and worst.
My best, it's not of the past 7 days, but more so the entire month of May. That's the month of May that Adam Duvall turned in for the Reds. 11 home runs and seeing the ball extremely well. Duvall's production in May propelled his average up to 271. It seems like whenever this guy's not hitting home runs, he's a double machine. And he's playing a solid left field. I mean, we're used to guys like Adam Dunn and Johnny Gomes and Lance Nix and Marlon Byrd out there. So Duvall's kind of been one of the few sparks in the lineup as of late. My worst of the week is definitely Tuesday on ESPN all day. It was absolutely atrocious. You would have thought the Game 7 of the Western Conference Finals was the only thing that happened in all of the world on Monday.
Yeah, and Duvall is quietly making a case for the All-Star game for himself. He probably won't beat out Cozart, but he's been playing well, I agree. My best of the weekend, sticking with the NHL playoffs, they've been fantastic. The Stanley Cup Finals have started. They've been great so far. Hopefully that continues to get better. If you haven't been watching it, I would say tune in because it's just been great. It's the best time of year right now with the NBA playoffs and the NHL playoffs going on. It's fantastic. They got another best of the week. While Alex's Manchester United Red Devils are signing a 19-year-old kid to a 4-year deal, my Manchester City Blues are signing a world-class midfielder in Ilkay Gundogan from Borussia Dortmund. They signed him to a 4-year deal. World-class midfielder. We're just adding really, really great players because we have all the money in the world to do so. So while you guys are signing a 19-year-old kid, we'll just sign players. That's fine with us. Worst of the weekend, I don't know how many of our listeners are on Twitter, but if you are on Twitter, you may have seen some tweets coming from a verified account, which was Nyquist the Horse. The Kentucky Derby winner, Nyquist, had his own verified account, and he was tweeting as a horse. Now, people would ask him questions, and he would tweet back things like, I don't know, you have to speak with my publicist. So some asshole in the Nyquist camp not only took to Twitter, created a fake account, took time out of his day to tweet like the horse. What kind of psychopath dickhole does that? That is the most insane thing I've seen. The account finally, it got berated by all the people on Twitter. It finally closed the account. Great day, great job by the great people at Twitter to close that stupid-ass account. So dumb. So that was my worst of the week, the Nyquist the Horse. Let's move on. Top 5. We usually do a segment called Top 5 where it coincides with something that's going on in pop culture, everyday life. This past Memorial Day weekend, which I hope all of our listeners had a fantastic Memorial Day weekend. This past weekend, Disney Channel aired their classic original Disney Channel original movies through the whole weekend, which was awesome. I don't know if any of our listeners caught any of those movies, but that leads us to our top 5 for this week, which is our top 5 favorite Disney Channel original movies. Ian, I'm gonna let you start. Let's start with number 5.
Number 5 for me is the Even Stevens movie, Christy Carlson Romano, otherwise known as Ren Stevens. I'm still single and interested, sweetheart. Subscribe to Ohio Sports Radio on iTunes and hit a brother up.
All right, Alex, number 5 for you.
Number 5 for me is The Luck of the Irish, the basketball movie. I've watched that shit over and over as a kid.
Great movie. Number 5 for me, I got 2 because I couldn't decide. We did this together last minute. I couldn't decide. So I'm going with number 5. I'm going with Genius, classic Disney Channel original movie. Damn, Ian, that was a hilarious comment. I'm still laughing at that. All right, number 5 for me, classic Disney Channel original movie, Genius. If you haven't seen it, a nerdy kid becomes popular by basically being an asshole. Involves hockey, fantastic. Second one on number 5, my co-number 5, if you will, Brink, Soul Skaters, nothing better than it. Great movie. So let's move on. Number 4, Ian, what's number 4 for you on your list of top 5 favorite Disney Channel original movies?
Number 4 for me, Saw 3. No, I'm just kidding. Number 4 for me is Smart House. Peggy Bundy's role as a robot mom. She was kind of terrifying, but overall, pretty good movie. I remember watching that one several times.
All right, Alex, number 4 for you?
Number 4 for me was Brink, which was also your number 5. My favorite part's when he pours the milkshake over his head, when they're in the little food court area. Great movie.
Team Pup and Suds. Number 4 for me, Smart House, great movie. So many cool moments. I wish I had that house growing up, so except for the psycho-ass lady that runs the house. So many great... Damn it, dude, we can't go on with this episode. We cannot go... We cannot go on with this episode.
It's organic.
It's organic.
No, you can't go on with this episode. It's so shitty.
Keep going.
No.
The show must go on.
The show must go on.
Oh, God. Sorry to all of our listeners out there. This has been insane. For those of you who may not be watching the YouTube channel, I have to deal with these two dying laughing. They're dealing with me dying laughing, muting my mic every time they're talking. It has been a nightmare so far. So sorry, but this is a good start to the show. If we're all laughing and going crazy like this in the beginning, it's obviously funny to us, and that's really all that matters. What are we on? Number 4?
Number 3.
Number 3.
No, we're on number 3. God, I'm so far behind. All right, Ian, did you say your number 3? Number 3 on your list of top 5 favorite Disney Channel original movies. Go.
Hold Me Closer, Tony Danza, going with the garbage kicking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon.
Great movie. Alex referenced that, I think, on his first show, which was pretty good. Alex, what's number 3 for you on your list?
Number 3 for me, Alley Cat Strike, the bowling movie where at the end of it gets that what is it, the 7-10 split, whatever, the hardest shot in bowling. She does the little spin and kind of walks away, owns that shit, gets it, wins it, saves the alley. Great movie.
Everyone tried to do that shot after they saw that movie, and it is impossible. Yeah. You can't do it. It's impossible. Number 3 for me on my list is Johnny Tsunami. Could be higher. Great movie. Unreal good movie. I don't know. It made me want to snowboard growing up, and it also made me want to surf. So, fantastic movie. Johnny Tsunami, number 3 for me. And let's hear number 2 for you on your list of top 5 favorite Disney Channel original movies.
Number 2 for me is Johnny Tsunami. For different reasons, I always just wanted to sneak onto a military plane and fly to another state. So Johnny Tsunami comes in at number 2 for me.
Not just another state, Hawaii.
Yes,
so,
Hawaii.
Unreal flight on there. Alex, number 2 for you on your list?
Number 2, Motocrossed. just an awesome movie. I love dirt bikes. That was just a sweet-ass movie.
It's very good. Number 2 for me on my list is Halloween Town. Arguably my favorite. This is a tough decision, but this is a really, really, really good movie. I watched this movie a lot in October. It's a classic for me. So Halloween Town, number 2 for me on this list. And number 1 for you on your list, the top 5 favorite Disney Channel original movies.
Soul Skaters Unite. The story of Andy Brinker and his pals Pete, Jordy, and Gabriella. I'm going with Brink number 1. Val was such a douche. Team Pup and Suds over X-Blades any day.
That guy has only ever played a douche in every movie he's ever been in. He's been playing the same character for 25 years now. Alex, number 1 for you on your list of top 5 favorite Disney Channel original movies.
Throwing back to episode 1, the garbage picking, field goal kicking, Philadelphia phenomenon. Watching this movie when I was younger, I thought there was really a college called PU. When they were making fun of him in the locker room, they're like, "Oh, what school did you go to? PU?" And sadly, there is not a PU university, but it's still a great movie.
Is it University of Pennsylvania or Pennsylvania University? Because it could be PU. I don't know. We'll have our stat guys look into that. I don't know. Number 1 for me on this list, Motocross. Alex, you mentioned it earlier. Still one of my favorite movies. I actually watched this one over Memorial Day. Forgot how good it is. Absolutely classic. I forgot that the bad guy was like a French guy, Rene Cartier, if you remember him. Insane movie. Insanely good movie. I don't know. I loved it. One of my favorite Disney Channel movies. So that's our list of top 5 favorite Disney Channel original movies in honor of Disney playing all of their movies leading up to their 100th Disney Channel original movie over Memorial Day weekend. And by the way, all their movies from about 2004 on suck ass. So you can, if you're going back through the archives, just cut all those off. You don't need to watch them. They all suck. But yeah, that's our list of top 5. Let's move on. Let's actually talk some Ohio sports now. This is where you guys probably tune into it. Let's start off with your Browns. Not much going on right now in the NFL world, but there are some pieces of news for the Browns and the Bengals. We'll start with the Browns. Tight end Gary Barnidge had sports hernia surgery, but he is expected to be back by training camp, so that's good news. And I know you're huge on Gary Barnidge, so that's good news for you guys. Head coach Hugh Jackson is apparently expanding Cleveland Browns legend Jim Brown's role with the organization. For years, Jim Brown has been involved with the team, but Hugh Jackson is making Jim Brown a liaison of the organization. Hugh said, quote, "He understands these young men," talking about Jim Brown. "He understands truly how to deal with them, how to motivate them, and how to push them to not be, or how to push them, and to me, a guy like Jim, not to use him as a resource would be not very smart. God damn, would be not very smart on my part. He's been outstanding." Hugh went on to say, quote, "I've never played in the National Football League, so there's people who are going to be able to give them very good experience advice on what they're dealing with, not just within the organization, but also within the community and how they can be successful. That is very important." That was the worst read I've ever done on this show. I mean, God, that was terrible. Ian, what's your thoughts on them giving legend Jim Brown a bigger role with the club?
Don't worry, man. That was a lot of syllables you had to read through.
God, I'm telling you.
Jim Brown is an excellent ambassador to the game and to the city of Cleveland as well. I think he's going to definitely have a large impact on these young guys, especially bringing in 14 rookies through the draft. He's just a great person to have around, and he can definitely bring out the best in some of these young guys. And hopefully Hugh came out and said last week that he'd like to develop a stronger run game. So hopefully having Jim Brown around out there and talking to guys like Crow and Duke, maybe that'll inspire them a little bit better to brush up their game and improve it. And, anything that involves increasing his role in the organization, I think it's a great move. He's done a lot for the city and done a lot for the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. Great move on the Browns' part. Anything you can do to honor your legends, and especially someone like Jim Brown, who's just a legend of football in general. So that's a great move by Hugh Jackson and the Browns. Also, one last piece of news with the Browns. they wrapped up OTAs, and a lot of their beat writers and reporters were asking Hugh Jackson if he's made a decision at starting quarterback, and obviously he said the team wants to make the right choice, not just a fast choice. We are not ready to pick between RG3, Josh McCown, Cody Kessler, Connor Shaw, and Austin Davis at this point. I mean, obviously he's going to say that kind of stuff. It's going to be RG3. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
All signs point to RG3, especially with the guys they brought in, like the wide receivers, the type of wide receivers they brought in, the short route possession guys. We know RG3 doesn't have like the greatest arm in the world. He had a lot of success in Washington that rookie season, going short and under routes and stuff like that. So, guys like Corey Coleman going to be slashing down the field. He'll be able to hit him. But guys like Jordan Payton, Gary Barnidge going across the middle, I think RG3 is better suited for that offense.
Yep, I completely agree. But we'll see. We'll wait until actually they start getting into heavy practices and whatnot. OTAs really don't mean much at all. But let's move on. Let's talk about our Cincinnati Bengals, Alex. Couple pieces of news. Free agent Dwight Freeney, who worked out with the Bengals last week, was on NFL radio on Sirius XFM or XM, and he said that his meeting with the Bengals went well, but he fully expected to leave their facility without a contract. Now, I think Freeney will end up back in Arizona for a cheaper deal, personally. I don't know why the Bengals didn't sign him. Maybe he was asking for too much money. I have no clue, but that's kind of an interesting note. A couple other things. Steelers players Marcus Wheaton and Stephon Tuitt said in an interview with Jeremy Fowler on ESPN.com that the Ravens are a bigger rival than the Bengals. That's so funny to me because they're just trying to stir shit up. They're just trying to stay relevant in the news, stir shit up with the Bengals. They're trying to get to Vontaze Burfict, which it'll probably work because he doesn't get off Twitter and he's kind of crazy. But Alex, what are your thoughts on that, man?
I think that's complete bullshit. I was at the playoff game last year when Pittsburgh came in and beat us because of our stupid penalties. The hatred their fans have for us, the hatred we have for them. Before the game even started, people are talking shit. Not everyone's completely sober, like showing up. This is hours before the game. You see that black and yellow. You want to fight them. There's no way they are more rivals with the Ravens than us. It's pure hatred both ways.
It is. I think it's still the biggest rivalry in the NFL. Anyone who wants to dispute that, bring it on. Look at those games. The NFL has to break up they have to put officials at midfield between during warm-ups. So there's no way that the Ravens are a bigger rival for them. They may say that and they're trying to stir shit up, which is fine, but no way. That rivalry is huge. Now they're owning that rivalry as of right now, but still on the field there's so much hatred. But yeah, not much else going on with the Bengals. Real quick, want to send a quick congratulations out to backup quarterback A.J. McCarron and his wife Catherine Webb McCarron on the birth of their first child, Raymond Anthony McCarron III. They're calling him Trip. That's his nickname. So awesome. Congratulations to the new parents. It's awesome. A couple other things I forgot to mention with the Browns, but the NFL did release the times on their preseason games. Real quick, I'll run through the Bengals and I'll circle back on the Browns. Friday, August 12th versus the Vikings. The Bengals will play the Vikings in Cincinnati at 7:30 p.m. Thursday, August 18th, they will go to Detroit and play the Lions at 7:30 p.m. Sunday, August 28th, in Jacksonville at 8 p.m. And Thursday, September 1st, they will travel to Indianapolis and play the Colts. And that game is at 7:30 p.m. And the Browns, real quick, let me pull that up. I do apologize. The Browns, Friday, August 12th, they will host the Green Bay Packers at 8 p.m. And Thursday, August 18th, they'll host the Atlanta Falcons at 8 p.m. Friday, August 26th, they will play Tampa Bay at 8 p.m. And Thursday, September 1st, Chicago at 8 p.m. Actually, Atlanta and Chicago are on the road. I don't know why the Browns website doesn't put the @ symbol letting you know that they're on the road, but it's Cleveland, so you guys can't figure that out. That's okay. All right, not much else going on with the Browns and Bengals, though. Kind of a dead period right now. OTA is going on. So let's move on. Let's talk a little Reds baseball. Things not going good for the Reds. However, the Reds were able to snap their 11-game skid. For those of you who may have been living under a rock in Cincinnati, the Reds lost 11 games in a row before finally snapping their losing streak in Milwaukee on our last Saturday, May 28th. The Reds would go on to win that game 7-6. Cincinnati would follow that game up with another loss to the Brewers. They ended up losing 2 out of 3 in the series. The Reds are now in Colorado. That series started earlier in the week. The Reds won the first game, 11-8. Lost the second game of the series, 17-4. Absolute ass drubbing. And they won Game 3 of the series 7-2. Game 4 of the series is Thursday, which is when we're recording this tonight, Thursday at 8:40. So that should be coming on any minute, I think.
Reds are up 1-0.
All right, so we're up 1-0 right now. Awesome. After that series, the Reds will they'll be heading home for a 9-game homestand, which they really desperately need. They need to get some wins out of that. They got 3 games with the Washington Nationals, 3 games with the Cardinals, and 3 games with the Oakland Athletics. So pretty big 9-game homestand for the Reds. So if you want to get down there, you could probably see them for like a nickel right now because they're so terrible. Could be a good opportunity to go see the Reds and their shitty pitching. Real quick, one thing I saw about the Reds that was pretty cool. It wasn't pretty cool, but I love stats, so I thought this was pretty interesting. Zach Buchanan of the Cincinnati Enquirer wrote a great article where he posed the question, where will this Cincinnati Reds pitching staff rank all time? Here were some interesting stats that I pulled from the article. Right now, this is Cincinnati's pitching staff's ERA. It's at 5.83 right now. That would be the 8th worst full season total ever and the 2nd worst of the modern era. The record is 6.80, held by the 1930 Philadelphia Phillies. That's terrible. Home runs per 9 innings, the Reds are averaging 1.8, almost 2 home runs per inning, or per 9 innings, so per game. This would easily be the worst ever. The current record is 1.514, held by the 1996 Detroit Tigers. Walks per game, the Reds are averaging almost 4.8 walks per game. The Reds this would rank them 18th all time, slightly ahead of the 1987 Texas Rangers. The 1915 Philadelphia Athletics, holy shit, were the worst ever with walks per 9 of 5.5. So don't count us out yet. We can still catch that one. We can definitely still catch that one. So don't count us out yet. Batting average against right now, the Reds are at .277. They're in the worst of 250. They're in the top 250, or I guess the worst 250 of all time. That the record is .346 against the Phillies in 1930, which we can definitely still break. Give us time on that. Opponents on base percentage, we are 7th worst right now. The 1930 Phillies were fucking terrible. They have the worst mark ever at .891. They're still the worst. They're literally the worst in every category. And then complete games, we're on pace for 3 complete games. 3. That ranks us as the 104th worst. And there's like 60 other teams that are tied with that. But that's 3 complete games. That's Johnny Cueto did that like in a month. So pretty terrible for the Reds. Ian, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I said it last week. If you look at the lineup, from top to bottom, it's not a terrible lineup. And I've talked to other friends about this. That lineup can win if they had reliable pitching, consistent pitching. I'm not saying they have to have 5 aces. I'm not saying they have to have the rotations that they had when they went to the playoffs and won the Central a few years back. But just any type of consistency in the rotation or the bullpen, this team would be winning some more games than what they already are. We've seen that they're able to score runs at a really, they're putting up runs on the board, and it's not just against the Rockies. They've had some games where they've scored a lot of runs, and they have had some decent pitching performances here and there. But last night what we got out of John Lamb he's Mr. Inconsistency. You never know what's going to happen to him. But the bullpen is the biggest eyesore of this team, outside of Alfredo Simon. But this bullpen just continues to let us down over and over. Cingrani's been reliable here lately. But
he's got to, real quick, Cingrani's got to stop that stupid thing where he comes to the mound and just sigh, or does that thing where he huffs and puffs on the mound right before he's going to pitch. That's got to stop. You're not intimidating anyone, dude. You've been shit all year. You know what I'm talking about? The stupid thing he does right before he pitches. Yeah, I've noticed that too. I mean, at this point, does it matter? I think he's just trying to get into the heads of these batters that hey, I'm a solid pitcher. Get ready for this. But yeah, it's just the pitching's been atrocious. Like you read the stats that the Enquirer guy wrote. It's brutal, man. And if they had anything that resembled consistency with the pitching, I think this team would be okay. Alex, thoughts?
Tickets are $12. That's the cheapest you can get them.
Okay. Where are those at? Are those up top? Don't tell me those are up top.
Yeah, it was on 700 the other day. The tickets as low as $12.
Speaking of that, real quick, I don't know if you were watching Fox Sports 1. They were Reds Live, or the pregame or whatever, Reds pregame. They were selling tickets. They were talking about the promos going on at the stadium. I've never seen that happen on the pregame ever. Unless it's the Yankees are coming to town. It's always one of those. No, they're actually pitching, trying to sell tickets on there now. It's like Brian Giesenthal and those guys. It's pretty bad right now. That's how many people aren't coming to the games. That's how much money this franchise is losing on ticket sales. It's bad, dude. They're like, hey, you can get tickets for $10. Don't miss this great opportunity. Pretty bad. But go ahead with your thought. I'm sorry.
Did you see that 13-game package they were pushing last week?
Why 13?
13 games for $59. Do you know how pissed off I would be if I was a season ticket holder?
13 games for $59. Where are the seats at?
I mean, they're the very top of the stadium. I think they're right outside of US Bank Arena on the roof, but still, 13 games for $59. If I had season tickets anywhere in that stadium, I would be livid at that promotion.
The only season tickets that would be worth it right now are Diamond Club seats, and that's because you can just eat your ass off and make up for all the food that you're going to eat while you're there. That's it. There's nothing else that would want to make me go to that stadium and watch this team 13 times and still pay that. I mean, that's not a lot of money for 13 tickets, obviously, but it is with this terrible team.
That parking, though.
True. The parking is
that's
terrible.
Where they get you.
Oh, God. Alex, though, what were your thoughts on all these terrible stats that I rallied off?
I mean, I have faith we can beat them all. I think we can take them.
That's the spirit.
At this point, I think we got to start aiming for the worst of the worst. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of
take that number one.
It's
That's
have
the
a
thing,
little.
though. We're not even last, though. I was looking it up the other day. We're still not even the worst in the MLB right now. It's just mind blowing.
Give us time. The reason we're not last is, like Ian said, this roster's pretty good from top to bottom. They're going to put up runs, and that's why. I mean, we've won games with how many runs we're putting up. I mean, when we're putting up 4 runs a game and stuff like that, you're supposed to win those games. It's terrible, and especially when you look at the Yankees and that 3-headed monster they have in the latter half of their games, where they have Betances, Chapman, and whatever the third guy's name is. Ian, what's his name?
Andrew Miller.
Andrew Miller, yeah. They have that 3-headed monster out there, and it's insane. So when we're looking at guys like Cingrani and Hoover in the beginning of the year, it's just terrible watching this team and this bullpen self-destruct night in, night out, just watching them. It's terrible. It's absolutely miserable. And I don't think $59 or whatever you said, it's got to drop into the 40s for me to buy that, just to go down there.
For you.
I mean, helmet nachos are really good. So I would go down there and probably get a helmet nacho every game. I would spend all my money in concession. That's where I would spend it. Concession and parking, and they got you. So I don't know. They suck right now, but at this point, I think you got to give the fans what we want. You got to go for all the bad records. I mean, most home runs in a game. Like, give up. Just let's do this. Let's go all in on being bad. You know what I mean? We're going to be good. We'll turn it around, but it's terrible right now. So let's just go for all these bad records. You know. But let's move on. I'm sick of talking about the Reds. They make me sick. Let's do a little housekeeping with the Columbus Crew SC. Last Saturday, the Crew defeated Real Salt Lake 4-3. Big win. They definitely needed that. Thanks to a hat trick from forward Ola Kamara, not to be confused with Kai Kamara. This was Kamara's third start for the Crew, and he had a hat trick in his third start, so definitely good for the youngster. Unfortunately, the Crew would follow that win up against Real Salt Lake with a 2-3 loss to the Philadelphia Union on Wednesday. Could have been a big win or a big point if they would have drawn or beaten the Union. Kamara was able to score another goal in that game, so that is encouraging, at least for the youngster, for the Crew. Definitely encouraging. The Crew still sit in ninth place in the Eastern Conference with 14 points. They're 9 points behind first place Philadelphia in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, kind of sucks. Crew aren't playing well. I don't know. I need to get up to a game. We need to schedule a time to go up to a game, you guys. But let's move on. Absolutely. Let's move on. Cleveland Cavaliers basketball. That's what everybody wants to talk about right now. The Cavaliers will face off their game one of the NBA Finals actually tonight on Thursday. They play the Golden State Warriors. For those of you who have been living under a rock, the Warriors came back from 3-1 down in this Western Conference Finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder. They won in Game 7 in Golden State. It was a great series. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson went absolutely the fuck off. Taking Golden State back to the finals for the second year in a row. Rematch against the Cavs, a much healthier Cavs team. Should be a really, really good series. Game 1 is started right now, I think. It's going on right now. Golden State enters the game as a 5.5-point favorite. According to Bovada, the Warriors are favored over the Cavaliers to win the NBA championship. A bet on the Warriors to win the title is set at -200, which means a bet of $200 would yield you a $100 gain. The Cavs, as underdogs, are +170 to win the title, meaning that a bet of $100 would yield you $170. So some pretty good money to win if for all my degenerate gamblers out there. So let's talk about the finals a little bit. We're going to get into our bold prediction this week. We're going to just pick the finals straight up. We're going to pick it in how many games, so we will answer that, but let's save that for the end. Let's get into it. Real quick to recap the Golden State Oklahoma City series. Alex, you're not a big NBA guy, I know that. Ian, what were your thoughts on that series?
Well, I want to say and just echo what ESPN has said all along. If there was a team that could come back from 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals, it was Golden State, because there was only Golden State that was down 3-1 in that series. That series was fantastic. It really was. I really want to see Durant get his, but I think the guy's still only like 23 or 24 years old, 25.
He's cursed.
Maybe.
He's cursed. Lil B cursed him. So Lil B follows me on Twitter, so not a big deal. He's a big Ohio Sports Radio guy. He follows like 1.2 million, so it's actually more surprising if he doesn't follow you on Twitter. But still, Lil B's my dude. He loves Ohio Sports Radio. Shout out to Lil B. You're a homie. He cursed Kevin Durant, and he's cursed for life now. Lil B curse is the real thing. I'm starting to believe it.
Well, he doesn't follow me, so I'm a little salty about that. But anyway, moving on. I'm probably cursed now, but yeah, I mean, Westbrook, Durant, really at the end of the day, that's all they had, and Durant had those patches in the game where he was just ice cold, and it fell on Westbrook's back. Then Durant would get hot. At the end of the day, Golden State just had too much, man. I mean, they're just, like you've said over and over, they're a well-oiled machine. They play through adversity, and like you also said, Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, not Seth Curry. Seth Curry was terrible. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson, they went off. Every game they needed to go off, they did. The supporting cast played well. Harrison Barnes played well. Just everything about the Warriors clicked. Unfortunately for Billy Donovan, he couldn't get over the hump, just like Scott Brooks. But some good basketball in that series. It was really good. The defense was god-awful, but it was entertaining, to say the least.
Klay Thompson, Game 6, we'll talk about that performance for years. I mean, he saved that series. He was phenomenal in that series. And real quick, how come nobody is talking about the backcourt for the Golden State Warriors? Steph Curry, Klay Thompson have the most trash shoes of all time. Steph is wearing Under Armour, and Klay is wearing Anta shoes from China. There has not been a more trash backcourt pair of shoes in the history of shoes. They're awful. Those Under Armour shoes are terrible. They go up to like mid-calf. Those shoes are terrible, terrible. But Klay Thompson's performance in Game 6 was unbelievable. Russell Wilson and Kevin Durant laughing at Steph Curry's defense, I feel like sparked him, turned him on, man. Game 7, he was unbelievable. Just everything they throw up. Steph's kind of becoming a little cocky right now. I mean, the shooting and turning around as the ball's in the air is fun and all, but it gets to a point, man, where it's kind of cocky at some point. But great series, phenomenal. I think Kevin Durant, when he was asked about free agency, he didn't really say much about it. I think he'll test the market. I think it all depends on what Russell Westbrook does. I think you could see them both sign a 1-year contract to remain in Oklahoma City. I mean, if you look anywhere, there's really not much else. There's really nowhere that they can go. I mean, they'll get paid somewhere, obviously, but do you want to get paid or do you want to win? I think these guys want to win titles. So, I mean, you could see him maybe in L.A. You could see him probably. I mean, Houston's always in the free agent market. I mean, he's been linked with the Wizards, which could be good to get out of the West and away from Golden State and everybody. But I don't know, man. I think if they lose, Oklahoma City shuts down. Like that, who else wants to play out there? There's nothing out there. It's a boring-ass city. Oklahoma, I mean, who wants to play out there? So, great series. I think the finals is going to be even better. LeBron and the Cavs are well rested. Golden State, they do have the home court advantage, but if Cleveland can steal one in Oakland, it's a whole new ball game, man. So I think the finals are going to be really good. I'm really, really excited. Really, really looking forward to it. And real quick, another piece. We'll talk more about the finals in our bold predictions, so I don't want to get too much into it. But another piece of news regarding the Cavs. Former head coach David Blatt is reportedly finalizing a deal to coach a team in fucking Turkey. Turkey. This is the man that took the Cavs to the finals. Took them to the finals. And now he is in Turkey coaching in Europe. He couldn't even take a job in the NBA. He's not that bad of a coach.
He's not. It blows me away. It really does. Unfortunately, I really believe that LeBron had a lot to do with that. I think LeBron had a ton to do with that, and I think David Blatt is forever tarnished in the NBA. I hate seeing that happen. I mean, when he got fired, you saw his record. He was like 40 games over 500.
Yeah, I think his record all time was better than Red Auerbach's, which is amazing. His win percentage was better, so unreal, man, that he's back in Turkey. But didn't he come from Europe? Isn't that where he took the Cavs job after coaching in Europe? He was really successful over there. So maybe he's comfortable over there. I don't know, but no thanks. If I have a chance to coach in the NBA, the league of leagues for this sport, yeah, why wouldn't you want to coach here? I mean, there was tons of jobs opening up that he could have been a major candidate at. So really weird, in my opinion, but congrats to him, I guess. I don't know. Let's move on. Let's do our OSR Mailbag segment. This is where we answer questions from you, the fans. So we got a couple questions by our Facebook page. We're going to try to keep it short tonight since we're running a little long on the show. Let's start with first one. Ricky Barker wants to know, what does 6 straight finals appearances do for LeBron mean to you guys? Ian?
It's a remarkable feat. He's been a key role in getting his team there each of the last 6 finals. While you can't take away the titles he won in Miami, I don't think he's going to ever be satisfied until he can bring a title to Cleveland.
Yeah, good answer. I agree with some of that. I'm going to add to that. Alex, any thoughts?
I mean, I've got a dog. I thought we were talking about shit that didn't matter. Nah,
Wow.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going with that, but whatever. Not a
unless
fan
he
of six.
I mean, made it 6 straight. Cool. How many of those did he bring rings home with? I look at
Two.
Kobe and Jordan, and I mean Jordan and those Bulls, the consecutiveness, and I mean, sure they didn't go to 6 straight, but still, I mean,
Okay, here's a
the ones
question.
they went to brought they brought the ring home.
Here's a question for you. You're an NBA superstar. Would you have, at the end of your career, you retire, would you have rather have gone to 6 straight finals and won 2 of them, or would you rather have gone to none?
Oh, I'm gonna go with the 6 and the 2.
Yeah, okay. And that was a softball to set you up for this one. Now, would you rather go to 6 straight and win 2 of them, or would you rather go to 2 and win both of them? So you're 2-0 or 2-6 or 2-4.
Oh, I mean, me personally, just because I'm a smartass, I'm gonna go with the 2 and 2, just so I can say I'm undefeated. Just like when all my friends down south are like, "Oh, you're a Yankee, you're from up north," and I'm like, "Yeah, undefeated in Civil Wars." So
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, though. As a star player, you wouldn't want to be on the main stage 6 times. You had your chance 6 times. You only won 2 of them. Two's still a lot. Karl Malone never won one. There's a lot of players that never won a championship. But you still went 6 times. That's a incredible feat by LeBron, in my opinion. Yes, he didn't win all of them, but it's incredible.
it is incredible. I'm not. I mean, I don't want to, bash on going there like it's nothing. But for me, I don't know. I couldn't do the 4 heartbreaking losses. I'd rather have the 2, go to 2, win 2, hang my hat on that career. But
Yeah, I think this would be the most heartbreaking of the losses too for Cleveland, especially. And I heard an interesting. We'll get back to this later. I don't want to get too much into it. We're going to save it for bold prediction. Let's continue with another question. Jake Parrish wants to know via our Facebook page, what should the Reds do with Zack Cozart if/when other teams inquire about him? Ian?
Cozart and the Reds avoided arbitration for this season by agreeing to a 1-year deal that I think brought him just under $3 million. Obviously, with the season that Cozart's putting together, he'll stand to make more money next season, probably double, maybe triple what he makes this season. If teams come calling, I mean, you have to pick up the call. Cozart could provide stability at short and some pop in lineups of those who are actually contending for a pennant race or whatnot. The Reds have 2 guys in their system that are highly touted at the same position who are younger. You got Peraza, who could play there tomorrow if called up, and then Alex Blandino is only a couple years away from being MLB ready. He's down in Double-A, but it sucks seeing these guys get good and then we have to ship them off because we can't afford them. But at the same time, we've said it all along. We're in this rebuild. Whatever can help us sustain just success over the long haul. We have to do it. So if that means we got to get rid of Cozart when he's hot, that's what we have to do.
Alex, you have any thoughts on that? If a team comes knocking for Cozart, what do you think? Should the Reds answer?
definitely, I'm gonna have to agree with Ian. I mean, you got to hear him out, but at the end of the day, what's best for us? We're in a rebuild. Is he? I mean, the future for us? Is he just the right now, the hot now? And
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think, being in a complete rebuild, anytime a team comes knocking and wants one of your star players or a player's playing well, you got to cash in while you can. Is Cozart a part of the future? I don't know. That remains to be seen. He's playing really well. His trade value's skyrocketing for him, and I don't know if a team comes. I would assume that the Reds are going to listen to an offer because they're going to listen to probably an offer for Joey Votto soon. I mean, me and Ian were talking about that. So the wheels are moving in the trade market, at least for the Reds. So thank you for the question. Do appreciate that, Jake. And Ricky, thank you for your question. One final question for Mr. Jeremy Green. He wants to know, who do you think could surprisingly, keyword, change the series for each team in the NBA Finals? Someone who is not really on everyone's radar. Ian?
For Cleveland, I'm going power forward Channing Frye. He's been an excellent addition to the team since coming over in February in a trade. He's provided some valuable minutes off the bench. And when Tristan or even K. Love need a rest, Frye has the ability to come in and put points up on the board. He's got above-average perimeter shooting. He can hit the three ball. For Golden State, I'm going to go backup center Festus Ezeli. While Bogut is the starting center for the Warriors, and Mo Spates subs in to provide, just kind of a bruising presence, Ezeli offers a lot more, and he's probably going to end up becoming the starting center once Bogut's contract's up. He's athletic, and with Ezeli on the floor, the Cavs may be forced to use Mozgov more than they'd like to, just because they'll need to have a bigger body in there on Ezeli for the rebounds.
Yeah, for me, I'm going to say Tristan Thompson for the Cavs. He's a big body down low. He's going to be a lot for Draymond Green, those guys like that to handle. Draymond will probably guard him. It'll be a lot for those guys to handle. I think the Cavs definitely have the advantage inside. So if they can work the ball in, they can get rebounds down low. If they can attack the basket, which I saw they were shooting like 38% from the two in the playoffs. That's unconscious from two. So huge for them. I think Tristan Thompson, maybe J.R. Smith, because he's going to fire a lot of threes. They're going to try to play like Golden State. That could be big for the Cavs as well. With Golden State, I'm not going to say a player. I'm going to say head coach Steve Kerr. And the reason why is Steve Kerr is going to throw pick and roll galore at Kevin Love. Kevin Love is going to get exposed on defense. He's not been known for a good defensive player, and he's going to have to come out and guard players on the perimeter. He is going to get pick and rolled to death. That is what Golden State does. They pick on players, and that's what's going to happen to Kevin Love. So Kev Love is such a great rebounder because he doesn't like to come far out from the basket. Well, in this series, he's going to have to, and he's going to get pick and rolled to death. So I'm going to say Steve Kerr for Golden State. He's going to have a pretty good game plan coming in, having won it last year. But we will see what happens with that. So thank you, Jeremy, for the question. That's it for OSR Mailbag. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions. Let's move on to a new segment we introduced last week called What's Good, where we just give you something that we're enjoying in our everyday lives right now. Alex, I'm going to start with you, man. What's good?
Well, I have to thank you for this one. You introduced me to Tom Segura on Netflix, mostly stories. I haven't laughed as hard. Tonight was a close second pre-show, but I mean, if anybody out there has a Netflix account, if you can borrow somebody's password, get on there. I don't know if his videos are on YouTube. Tom Segura, dude's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, he's so funny. He's the best in the business right now. He has a really good podcast, by the way, that he does with his wife called Your Mom's House Podcast. Super funny, super good. If you're into podcasts, check that out. But, yeah, he's awesome, man. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Ian, what's good?
I'm really digging the new album from Foy Vance. It's called Wild Swan. If you like folk music and soulful vocals, I definitely suggest checking that one out.
Yeah, I've not heard that, so you may have to send me a copy of that. But definitely for sure, that's awesome. What's good for me right now? I just finished Uncharted 4 on PlayStation 4. It's the best video game I've ever played in my life. Story mode, I mean, if you've not played the Uncharted series, you're basically a treasure hunter named Nathan Drake, and you're just hunting treasures and shit, and it's like a movie when you're playing it. It's incredible. Uncharted 4 is the last of the series, and it was the best game I've ever played. If you have a PlayStation, you should be playing the Uncharted games. If you have a PlayStation 4, definitely check out Uncharted 4. It's worth the time. I got another best of, or another what's good. Bunbury Music Festival starts this weekend. Me and my fiance Katie will be down there, and should be a good time. A lot of great bands. Killers, Florence and the Machine, Haim, Of Monsters and Men, tons of great bands. Looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good time. Anytime you can go listen to music, sit outside in the sun, and drink a couple beers, it's a good time. So really looking forward to that. But let's move on. Bold prediction. This is what we end our show with every week. This week's bold prediction, we're just going to straight up, we're going to tell you who we think is going to win the NBA Finals and how many games. So Alex, and we'll start with you.
Golden State in 6. For the only reason they're hot right now off that series. Cavs have been sitting, resting, taking pictures in their Game of Thrones Hodor shirts. I just think they're more hungry coming into it.
All right, Golden State in 6, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Ian?
Cleveland in 7, meaning in Game 7 they will go to the Oracle and steal one from them as the entire world watches. Golden State, bar none, the best team in the NBA this year by leaps and bounds. But I think this is the hungriest we will ever see LeBron play in the NBA. Everybody's healthy on this Cavs team. They're ready to go. Bring it home, all in.
I'm going Cavs in 6. I think they steal an early game in Golden State simply because they've had so much rest. They're ready to go. Golden State may be worn down from the series with Oklahoma City. I think LeBron is definitely on a mission. I don't know, man. He's playing so good right now, and he's got Kyrie and Kevin Love with him, and they just look really, really good. Golden State's a great team. I think it's going to be a fun series. But I like the Cavs in 6. I think this is Cleveland's year, man. I really do. And Cleveland fans deserve it. I've said it over and over. So I think Cavs in 6. That's my bold prediction. And that is our show. That is episode number 11 of the Ohio Sports Radio Show podcast. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys are enjoying our past episodes, which you can check out on iTunes, Google Play Music, and Stitcher for all you Android users. Really doing well on all those. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed. Continue to subscribe. Download the episodes on whatever platform you may need. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Ohio Sports Radio, and the Ohio Sports Radio Show in the search bar. When you're there, leave us a review. It really helps us out. 5-star review would be super awesome. Tell all your friends and family, anyone who may be interested, help us out. Have them check it out. Ohio Sports Radio Show on iTunes. Make sure you subscribe to that. Like our page on Facebook, Ohio Sports Radio Show or Ohio Sports Radio in the search bar. Sorry. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Ohio Sports Radio. And thank you to everyone who continues to support us. Check out our website, ohsportsradio.com, where we are updating it daily with all kinds of news stories. If you're interested in writing for us, send us some stuff to ohiosportsradio@gmail.com. We actually had a guy send some stuff in, another guy, so got to check that one out. So thank you to everyone who continued to support us. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. Thank you to Ian and Alex this week for joining me on the show. Hopefully you guys tune in next week. Hopefully the Cavs can bring home a championship for the state of Ohio. But thank you to everyone. Make sure you check us out next week. We'll see you on the other side for episode number 12 of the Ohio Sports Radio Show.